Hello and welcome to the Red Phone Zone. I'm Ethan here with the Confessions of a DVD Snob. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2010 release of Paranormal Activity 2. So stay tuned, if you dare. I want to preface this by saying I did see the first Paranormal Activity. I saw it in theaters, and I actually quite liked the film. A lot of people sort of dog on sort of its the method in which the film was told, but I actually found it was rather refreshing, especially for a horror film, in that it really did a good job of evoking a lot of fear and a lot of tension, but without falling into the usual problems that most horror films show nowadays of, hey, let's just dump a bucket of blood on the screen and that'll scare everybody. I went and rented and watched Paranormal Activity 2 just last night. Paranormal Activity 2 is not directed by the same guy. The original was directed by Paranormal Activity 2 is directed by Tod Williams. Now, Tod Williams is the gentleman who brought us Wings of the Rockies, Door on the Floor, The Adventures of Sebastian Cole. Is not a prolific director. I was under the impression that they had handed this movie off to one of the directors of the Saw movies, but luckily, apparently, they did not. Anyway, this movie is more of I think more of a prequel than it is a sequel, although it has elements that take place both before and after the original movie, the original Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity 2 centers around the sister of the main character. I believe it was Katie in the first film. Her sister and her family. She's just had given birth to a son named Hunter, and they're and the antics that go on in their house. What the movie keeps the same flavor as the first film, as it's a bunch of found footage or documented, like from a handheld camcorder or from security tape footage, that sort of thing. Whereas in this movie, it maintains that level. It mainly tells the story from the point of view of stationary security cameras that are installed after the family has a break-in, which I'm pretty sure that break-in is going to probably come into play whenever they do Paranormal Activity 3. But anyway, the film itself sort of fleshes out a bit more about this demon that's following this family around. It has in that it sort of goes more into what it wants, why it does these things, and it even gives you an explanation as to why the demon goes off and does what it does in the first film. This movie has a good method of doing suspense, in that there's no like music in the sort of to distract you in the movie. There's a lot of sort of elongated moments in the movie where you're expecting something to happen and then nothing does. But when something does happen, it's very surprising. It makes you jump. It does a good job of not being a gory movie, even though it is a rated R film. It's mostly done by language. It's and language, probably intensity too, to an extent. I really enjoyed it. The only problem I had with the movie was its ending. Predominantly, movies about an hour and 40 minutes, and about an hour and 25 minutes, maybe an hour and a half of the movie takes place literally before the first film. And then it jumps in time to after what happened at the Katie and Micah, or Katie and Mika, I don't remember, in the first movie. But the very last 5-10 minutes of the movie, I think, kind of take away from the intensity and the real terror that goes on in the first half of the movie, or really the last half of the movie before this. The characters, there are a few sort of visual choices and edits that I think they could have done better. As far as sort of getting that eerie, creepy, oh my God, is that such and such type of thing. I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but just going off of the the trailer, you know that the Katie does show up in it after the events of the first movie, and we all know she was all kind of screwed up in that. Um, the thing I wish that they had done better in that very last part of the movie was sort of, instead of showing, as they show the security camera footage of Katie basically killing one of the people in the house, and I think that would have been a lot better if it had, because the security camera was on a cycle. I think it would have been better if it cycled and you saw her standing behind the guy, then it cycled over to the other views, and it came back and she's gone, but he's like lying in a different position, or she's lying in a different position type of thing. I would have preferred that, because it's like, oh crap, that really sucks. Now what? I'm interested to see really where they're going to go with the Paranormal Activity 3. I don't know how much longer they can sort of keep this type of movie up, because how many extra family members or whatnot can you have with this? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting in that the movie does a good job of explaining a lot of why the first movie happened, and I think it does it in a very creative way. Ultimately, it's a good film. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's one I'm going to rush out and buy, mind you. If I find if I don't even have the first movie. If I found them cheap, I'd probably pick them up maybe someday. But it is a genuinely scary movie, creepy movie, in an era now that we have of the Saw movies and Hostel and all those gore fests that pass as horror movies nowadays. So check it out. Not bad. I enjoyed it quite thoroughly.